Are you ready? Stand by.
Well, you can see my performance was quite abysmal. Not the worst, however, a lot of commentary at the event afterward. One saying I should pick up a 5-inch. These are cleared. I cleared them off camera, and I have them open so you can see no magazine, no ammo around. I really need a 5-inch barrel 45 or 9mm pistol. So, originally, I went out and grabbed the Gen 6 Glock 45, which notably is a 4-inch barrel, and sighted in this dot the day before my original first event. And what had happened was, when I got to the range, and this is an inside joke, so don't mind that, but I went to the range, and I was at the same range that the IDPA was set up at, and the information that came with the Gen 6, well, namely the optic here, which is a cheap Sea Life off Amazon, told me that I needed a 6x32, I believe, 9-inch screw. The Gen 6 is different than the Gen 5 MOS system, and you could use a longer screw for better retention because the ejector is changed in the design. So where the internals on the opposite side of the gun would fall somewhere around here, the internals for the ejector fall somewhere up here, so you can get a longer screw in there. Well, anyway, the information that came with this said, well, and online said 6x32, but it was an M4 screw that I needed. So once I got this sighted in, when I left and I was running out of ammo, I noticed that my shots are all over the place on the bench rest and the target I had set up. Well, those screws came loose, so this optic was loose, leaving me with iron sights. Well, I already registered with an optic. I didn't realize I could switch it out to irons. So I don't have it here with me, but my Ruger RXM was my next choice for my first competition. And what I ended up doing was getting up to the stand, and the first round goes off, and I have a failure to eject. So previous to that, I had the Ruger RXM sighted in with the suppressor and everything like that. I shot hundreds of rounds through it, but the day of the competition, the extractor hung up on me and was loose, causing the the shell not to come out and not load the next round. So I started over, and in the day prior, I got this mounted properly. So it wasn't fully sighted in with the new screws. Long story short, I had to put the RXM away and use the Glock Gen 6, and they allowed me to start over. Well, it was totally not sighted in, and my first time I had to kind of drop out. So I consider the video you just watched my first time. And of course I had to be different and use my 1954 Colt 1911 that I upgraded in my previous videos to all Wilson combat parts. Well, with that gun, I hadn't changed out the mainspring, which I plan to do, causing a few light primer strikes. So in the video you can see that there's a few times where I'm having issues with the mag and stuff like that. Plus, I didn't have a lot of time behind the gun in an event like that. So, not in an effort to move backwards, but the Gen 6 did pretty well overall once I got sighted in. And I like the gun a lot. It's one of my favorites out of the Glock lineup. I didn't take a good video of me shooting that. And today I went to the range with my latest pickup, the Glock 34 Gen 5 MOS. Now I put on these True Dot sights. They are dead night sights. So I wanted these because they're metal mainly to replace the stock Glock sights. The other thing I added, and of course we're clear, from the Glock store I picked up their cheap little magwell flare. Now I shot this today. I have my O-light on here. Let me take that off so you can see the gun normal. I like this O-light. People say they don't like O-light because they overheat. I haven't had a problem. It's rechargeable. But back to the topic here. I have this Glock 34, something I wasn't going to get. But I wanted the longer barrel and longer sight radius because essentially I think that I don't like to run an optic. I felt a lot more comfortable my second time around with the Colt and was able to get a better sight picture and pick up on my target better, despite where my shots might have hit with the irons. A lot of people swear by the dot sight. I think it has its time and its place. I don't mind it. I like it. It's growing on me, but for the time being, I'm excited for next Saturday to try again with my Glock 34. I want to increase my speed. I have a longer sight radius, and in my research, I found that the 34 fits the entire box for what's allowed in IDPA, whereas the other gun I was looking at, the Glock 17L, does not. So I'm a lot less limited with the 34. Now, I wasn't going to pick up a 34. I wasn't going to pick up another Glock, but in the great state of Connecticut, they're trying to go ahead and ban anything with a cruciform trigger bar. Now, some people may have seen what that is. Some people don't know what it is. Hopefully it picks up on the camera, but that's this piece right here, the cruciform. And they're claiming that these pistols are convertible, which they are, but that's already illegal. So the whole point is null and void. We should be cracking down on crime, not on Glocks. And I've got it before anything may go through. It should be grandfathered in. The law is saying anything after October 6, 2026, or October 1st, I believe, when the session, or whatever the heck you want to call it, whatever they're doing up there, goes into effect. So, you know, the scary, ugly Glock, some people scoff at it, but from my research, I've seen that a lot of people like the 34 for competition. Now, some people are going with the 47. They're not out there anymore. I'm sure I could find one if I looked hard enough, but in this state, you can't find 47 easily right now. I called around. Many places did not have any full-size Glocks. A lot of places only have the 43X or the 48. So I was very excited to find the 34. I mean, I don't know what there is else to say other than you got the difference in length. It's a full-size pistol. This is obviously a 19 slide on a 17 frame. So it's the same frame essentially. The front rail is a little bit longer to cover up the recoil spring. The Gen 6, interestingly enough, went back in time and they went back to the single spring recoil spring, whereas the also a lot of these Gen 6, they're a little bit more difficult to put on because there's more safety features. There's a different back plate. Goes, if you know how to operate a Glock, they go on just the same. It's just a little bit more gritty, I'll put it. But you got the Gen 5, which is the last generation with the dual recoil spring. My footage is lost from the range. I'm going to try and find some of my footage. I think I have one clip I can scrape up of me shooting this. However, I noticed with maybe it's a break-in period. I think I bought this thinking it was new, and it may have been used, but it didn't look used on the outside. It might have only had a couple rounds through it, but it was pretty dirty. It looked like it had been used, and it was missing a mag. So that was great. I love getting ripped off. The 115 grain ammo did not seem to like to let the... I got an empty mag, but you know, the lock back, I was getting a lot of with 115 grain, stopping here and going back in the battery. So the other notable feature here, which I like, and it does come in handy, the little nub on the side of the slide release definitely adds a little bit of a purchase where you can release that slide release. The 45 Gen 6 doesn't have the little nub. I'm sure I could throw one on there, but the idea behind this one, they added the little ledge here so that when you're shooting, which I've had happen because I like to ride high on the frame, you end up putting the slide release up into the notch when it comes back and it sticks. I want to say that happened to me once or twice. That's a nice feature. Some people call this little ledge here a gas pedal. It's not. It's just a finger rest. I had a little bit of a gold accent to it. I put suppressor height sights. I took off the RXM because I'm no longer running the optic on the RXM. I have a Kraken mailbox. It's like an Acro clone on the RXM, but I wanted the suppressor height sights on here so I could co-witness. However, this little optic here has its own built-in rear sight. I can get a purchase on the front sight with the rear, but just barely. Green with a low light feature, so you can adjust it to a dot and a you can't see it on camera, but you can adjust it also to be like the shape of a target, a bullseye. The other feature on the Gen 6, you got the beaver tail, which I like. Some people say the first thing they want to do is cut it off. With the magwell, I can't run the backstrap with the beaver tail. I was shooting that today with the beaver tail on it. I find that the beaver tail actually adds a little bit of bracing. I don't know how to really explain it. It adds a little bit more of, when you choke up on the grip, it feels like it's really in your hand. I shot at 25 yards today with the 34. Couldn't really tell what was going on because these sights I don't think are right for this gun. They do work. I was shooting a little high with the front sight buried in the rear, but I was getting close to the bullseye at 25 yards. With this one here in the brace, or the lead sled, if I shoot and I put it in there, I'm pretty accurate with the dot. I think it's a 3 MOA dot. Different grip texture. They made the grip profile more rounded, where this is more of like a brick square. This is more rounded, ergonomic. I don't feel any need to add any tape or anything to the grip. More of a flared magwell. I went with the 45 over the 19 because of this flared magwell. With the 19, I felt that it was pushing too much into my pinky. Conceals just as well as the 19 in my opinion. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I like the coating on the Gen 5 better. You can't really see it on camera, but it has more of a opalescence. If you look at it close, it's like a bluing, but it seems like a durable coating. It doesn't really, it's hard to really make sense of what I just said, but Glock store, I did something stupid. I put this slide on my 19X and it got stuck all the way back. So when I went to get it unstuck, because there was no other way, it ended up breaking the trigger housing, the little guide. So I ordered that off Glock store along with the magwell. I think it was like 35, 40 bucks with shipping for both. So they really helped me out, Glock store. They shipped fast, came within 4 days. I was looking, and they have now for the Gen 5 and the 6, I believe, a weighted beaver tail and the brass plug that goes up into the frame. They have it for the Gen 6. I'm not sure if it's worth it for 75 whatever dollars. May look into it. I like the weight, but I don't think I'm going to use this for IDPA. I'm excited for next Saturday to try this out and see how I can shoot. I want to go for more speed. You can see I was very slow, but more mag capacity, and I know how my gear works now. So, in conclusion, what I would say is, if you haven't shot IDPA, this isn't really a sanctioned IDPA. It's more of a have fun every Saturday and learn about it and try it out. It's all fun. The guys gave me a lot of tips and advice. Going forward, I'm going to try and stay true to the 34. I like it a lot. I think it's going to do well for me and will be good for increasing my speed. I really think there's something to be said about having a dedicated competition pistol and a carry pistol. This is what this is a carry pistol. So if you're on the fence, try it out. You really learn a lot. It's a lot different than sitting there and just shooting at a target. You're moving and you're conscious of a lot of different things, especially number one, safety. With all that being said, this video wasn't really a review or anything, but I wanted to throw my towel into the ring and or my hat in the arena, whatever the terminology is, and talk about the Gen 6 because it's worthwhile. And if you're in Connecticut, try and get one before October 6th or October 1st, because you know whatever they put into the legislator or whatever, however you want to say it, legislature or whatever, it's going to probably pass. The Democrats have a supermajority. Again, I'm not political on here, but they're starting to take away more and more of our freedoms and liberties. And maybe I'll have to go back to the 1911 one of these days. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.